I was good some days, but there were some days I was just, throwing things up against the wall with prospects and hoping they found something of interest to hire me. And I said to myself, there has to be a more consistent way of approaching this. That's when I kind of got introduced to the concept of it needs to be an operating system. So a firm relies on me, my personality, my skills, my experience, my reputation, but a business relies on an operating system that's duplicatable. Day in, day out, whether I care to work that day or not, it's not about my motivation that day. It still works.
Hello, hello, and hello. Welcome to the Profit Advisor Podcast, where we separate coaching conversations from real advisory outcomes. I'm Malcolm Reid. I'm the CEO of Pro Global Business Advisors and the creator and mastermind of the Profit Advisor platform. Now, each episode is a real operational breakdown. We talk about what broke, what changed, and the systems that actually made these results not only repeatable, but sustainable. So if you want real growth that survives without you, you're in the right place. And today, it is my honor to welcome Scott Lippitt. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Malcolm. This is great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so where I am, it's about 13 degrees. We have, it looks like a tundra outside, a whole bunch of ice. How about you? You have any better weather?
I'm out here in Colorado, and we've had one of the warmest winters we've ever had. It's 66 degrees here. It's probably warmer here than Miami.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm sure some other people are jealous as well. Yeah. Well, let me just quickly introduce Scott. Let me tell you, Scott's background is impressive. Scott happens to be an advisor in our community, but with over 25 years of hands-on experience in marketing and advertising, and we're talking for some of the top U.S. brands. I mean, he has dedicated the past 15 years to actually empowering small business owners and enhancing their financial performance. And he went to Duke University back with, University of Maryland. That's where I come, I love, but he earned an MBA after Duke. He earned his MBA from Columbia University up in New York. And then he ventured into the realm of Mad Men, honing his skills on Madison Avenue, with Ogilvy and other renowned advertising agencies. And let me tell you his portfolio. It boasts some of the most prestigious national accounts like Progressive Insurance, Arby's, Bush Brothers, Dunkin' Donuts, Hallmark, Hardee's, Hershey's, Duracell. I mean, the list goes on, along with managing marketing campaigns for iconic brands like Old Spice and Black & Decker. So Scott brings us a wealth of background and information. His transition to advising away from advertising was really born. Scott had a desire to pivot away from merely making millionaires even wealthier to redirecting his expertise from Wall Street to Main Street. And I love that. And that's where his impact could be more profoundly felt by supporting the small business owner. And, he partnered with us some years ago for us to produce the best coaches on the planet, Scott. And, it's just an exciting opportunity to talk to you, because some of your literary contributions include, you're more than, I think you're a 3-time author. Yep. You author work in Who Moved My Profits. You co-published the Professional Services Playbook and many other text and business strategies. But without further ado, under this guy's guidance and tutelage, one thing I can say for certain, clients can confidently implement a battle-tested playbook of strategies that paves the way for their business success. It's my honor, Scott, to be talking to you today. And, what we're talking about today really focus around, there's a lot of gurus out here that's telling people, I guess they oversimplify that marketing becomes the cure for all of their woes. What would you say when it comes to that, you hear things like you're one funnel away or things like that? What's your take on that type of perspective?
Well, back in the day, I wish marketing could have been the cure for all woes. But nowadays, it's definitely not. Unless you have a complete system, what I would refer to as a complete operating system, you're just driving traffic. And some of that traffic is going to be unqualified. Some of it may even be qualified. But unless you have a predictable, consistent process to take advantage of the traffic marketing generates, you're leaving so much money on the table and wasting so much money on marketing. You know, a lot of people think of marketing as branding, and that's definitely not what folks in our industry need. They think they're not only one funnel away, Malcolm, but one storytelling opportunity away from getting that next big client. But they don't realize it needs far more than just a glitzy tagline or the next podcast episode. Even it takes a holistic effort and a strategic one at that to create, again, I'll say it again and again because I believe it so much. It's an operating system that creates predictability and consistency, because without predictability and consistency, you don't have a scalable business. It relies on you. It relies on referrals or word of mouth and, you know, your own grinding effort to make things work, rather than having a system that can work for you, even when you don't really want to do marketing.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, Scott, thanks for that. You know, so our audience has a wide range of, you know, kind of where they are in their business. Some are at that startup phase. Some have, you know, they've been in business and have a few clients, and they're, to your point, they really don't know how, they don't have those systems in place. And some are, you know, have more business than they can handle, but they're stuck and overwhelmed too. So with that, you mentioned, you know, having like a complete operating system. So if you could kind of break down, kind of in its simplest forms for our listeners, when you say an operating system, what are the, from a high level, components of that operating system? And then what is something really simple that they can do inside of that operating system to get some sustainable results?
Well, you know, I would say there are at least 3 elements, if not 4, of an operating system for most businesses. One is that aspect of creating opportunities, turning what I would refer to as suspects into prospects in a consistent, predictable manner. That's number 1. Number 2 is too many businesses are winging the conversion process. They don't have a predictable, consistent way of then transitioning people from now a prospect into a customer, client, or patient. So they're doing discovery meetings, and it relies on an ad hoc ability of them uncovering a pain point. Some days they're good at it, some days they're not, and therefore their conversion from a prospect into a client, customer, or patient is inconsistent. And then lastly, they don't have a consistent method of getting their customers, clients, or patients results. Some days they're good at it, some days not so good. And therefore, they don't get the referrals they're dying for, because who doesn't want referrals? I love referrals, but you know, I can't say I'm going to get 5 referrals this month. Therefore, there's no consistency and predictability in that model. So unless they're going to have an operating system they can follow, and each time they follow it, they get very similar results, they don't have something that can scale without them.
So I'm hearing predictable, repeatable a lot. But someone may say, okay, well, that sounds good, but how do I do it? Like, what do I need to do to create? Let's just stick with marketing. Like, what's a tip you can give on how to create that type of predictability and repeatability?
Well, first of all, like I said, I'm a branding expert, but branding doesn't work for small businesses. That's it's a big boy game, Malcolm. You know, it requires a lot of money, a lot of funds to take a soft message. I'll use Nike as example. Just do it. Will work for Nike because they can throw millions upon millions of dollars at the consumer to get inside their head. That wouldn't work for a small shoe manufacturer in Boise. It needs to be what old days we called problem solution marketing, where it has to address the key problem your prospects, the business's prospects have that they want to get rid of. The real problem, not the surface problem. In that case, you know, if it was a small shoe manufacturer, old folks like me, we don't want to have to bend down to tie our shoes anymore, it seems. So there's these things like Kisniks or Skechers slip-ons, and they solve a real problem for people who just want to slip on their shoes and go. Well, that'll work for a small shoe manufacturer. They don't need a glitzy, cute little tagline to get them noticed. They need to address real problems. So my advice for the business owners out there is really first to understand what is the true problem you solve for your prospects. And then what is your special sauce for solving that problem in a way that maybe no other business does or very few businesses in your industry do.
That's huge. So I want to go back because there's a few really, I'm going to say, juicy things that Scott left for you all to really ponder on. The first thing is, and this is a big one, don't duplicate what you're seeing the big boys do, because how a small business operates is radically different from these large corporate conglomerates that have billions in marketing dollars. And Scott, I've seen small business owners, they obsess over their logos and their colors and their brands and all these things because branding experts tell them to do that. And you're saying you can't compete. The way you're going to compete is by really being clear on what's the real problem, not the surface problem, but the real problem that you solve, and being able to articulate that in a way that your clients can, I guess, see that, you know, you do this better than anybody else. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, Malcolm. I mean, I'm in, as you know, I'm in business with my wife as a business partner and my life partner. And we had a client a number of years ago, a roofing company. And I asked the question to the owner, they had some like cute little tagline, you know, we fix roofs right, or something silly like that. Well, I'm glad you don't fix them improperly and they continue to leak. But, I asked him, what is the real problem you solve? He said, Scott, we're a roofing company. We fix roofs. That's what we do. And he was so earnest about it. And I said, but any company can do that. What do you really fix? What's the problem people here in Colorado when we have a hailstorm? What are they really facing? And he said, well, beyond the leaky roof. I go, yes, beyond the leaky roof, Bob. And he said, you know what? They just don't know who to trust. Scott, they have these people roaming the neighborhoods, knocking on doors, saying they want to get up on the roof, and they don't know who to give their insurance money to because they're so fearful that there's going to be these storm chasers coming into the state from out of state, taking their insurance money, absconding with it, not coming back, not fixing the roof, and now they don't have their insurance money. And I said to him, well, I think that's a clear problem that people do have. How do you uniquely solve that? And he looked almost frightened, Malcolm. He said, I don't think we do. I don't think we solved that problem. I go, could you? And through a number of meetings and processes, he said, you know what they really want? They want us to fix their roofs before we take a cent of their insurance money. Can you do that, Bob? He said, unfortunately, we can't. We can't take the cash flow hit. And I said, how close can you get to? He goes, let me talk to my finance folks and I'll come back to you. And he came back with an amazing idea. He said, we won't take a cent of their insurance money until we deliver materials to their roof.
Wow.
And his business went from 2 million to 6 million in 1 year.
So what I just heard is by examining what the fears or the things that your customer doesn't always articulate out loud, but you may have to dig a little bit to find out what's that real thing below the surface that makes them feel like, okay, this is a no-brainer. I have to pick you. In this case, you're right, because I know I had, more than once I had a roofer come out and, my experience was they go up on the roof and they always find something far more than what they told you it would be, and so I had to pay more and more and more, and I didn't trust them. And it's like, I'm so glad I only have to do this once every, 15 or 20 years. That's a big, I want to pivot a little bit, Scott. And, obviously you've been extremely successful in your life. Also, success doesn't just happen that way. There's challenges. There's many challenges. And, so for that small business owner out there that, may be struggling to figure it out, they may be kind of overwhelmed, not sure what to do. I'd like to talk about some of your struggles. Where did you find in your own business or on your journey, where was that marketing or systems for that matter? They seem to be working, but you still felt like you were stagnant or that the business felt capped. Talk about a
Yeah.
situation when that's happened.
Well, you can be your own enemy of your success. That you get complacent, things, you believe that they'll always work the way they always did, and unless you keep pace with what's happening, I mean, in today's world, unless you're keeping pace with AI, and I mean really keeping pace with it, because what was correct 30 days ago can be very incorrect for businesses to be doing today. Just read a number of articles recently about which jobs are going to be taken and which jobs are going to be actually augmented by human capital more than ever with AI. So I think my own complacency, you can get dumb, fat, and happy on your success. And I took the eye off the ball and got complacent. I think that's where success can come back and hurt you.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer as hungry as you once were.
Yeah. What about those days when you weren't so successful and you were, second guessing, like, should I even be doing this? Wanting to quit and give up. Talk about that. And then how did you, stay the course and overcome those things?
Well, I've always had a philosophy that there can be people who are smarter than me, and there's a lot out there. But at my best, nobody can outwork me. And I got back in touch with my true self at that point, and I'm very competitive by nature. So, and actually it was both a friend and my wife who said to me during that time, is this the type of person you are really? Or is this just a minor setback? Which one are you? And which one do you want your two sons to see? And that emotional connection with the legacy I wanted to leave was what kicked me in the rear end again and said, nope, it's not how many times you get knocked down, like Rocky said. It's how many times you get up and keep moving forward.
Wow. So it sounds like you were at a place where you were kind of emotionally and physically just down. You weren't, being yourself. You weren't out there grinding. You weren't, putting your impressive background to use. And, you dug deep, you had support and challenge.
And I want to comment on that. Yeah, I think I also relied on my background too much. These degrees behind me really don't matter much to a small business owner. What matters most is what you're going to be able to do for them, not what you've done in the past. They could care less about what I did in the past. They're kind of there for me more to remind me of how good I can be, how good others thought I was. So you better live up to that reputation, dude, but not live in the past while you're doing so.
Yeah. So at what point did you realize that persuasion or charisma wasn't good enough and that you actually had to install systems, not only into your business, but also the small business that you help?
Well, it was a jolting reality because one, who says I have a personality and charisma, first of all, but second of all is that I was relying too much on reputation, too much on experience, too much on skills. And I was, like I was saying at the beginning, I was good some days, but there were some days I was just, picking things out of the air, hoping things, or throwing better analogy, I guess, is throwing things up against the wall with prospects and hoping they found something of interest to hire me. And I said to myself, there has to be a more consistent way of approaching this.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of got introduced to the concept of it needs to be an operating system. So a firm relies on me, my personality, my skills, my experience, my reputation, but a business relies on an operating system that's duplicatable day in, day out, whether I care to work that day or not. It's not about my motivation that day. It still works because you can only rely on, motivation so long before you burn yourself out. And if you have a system behind you, something that you can rely on, that's the bedrock of your business. I don't care what business you're in. You need to have a bedrock to build because that's like any structure. If you're building it on a rickety foundation, it will fall. It may not fall initially. You may have a beautiful home from the outside, And then it just takes one slam of a door to bring it all crashing down. That's what it was like. I was running a business like that. And until I found an operating system that I could just follow day in, day out, know my metrics, know my KPIs, know my success metrics, and just follow it, things just took off.
So in addition to you yourself running a successful business, you actually support business coaches to be better business coaches so that they can then have the right skills, resources, and tools to help grow small businesses.
Yes.
So my question is, by working with other coaches and consultants and service-based professionals, what lie does the coaching industry tell small business owners about success?
Let me make sure I understand the question, Malcolm. Are you saying, what does the coaching industry tell prospective coaches, advisors, consultants who may want to get into this industry?
No, whether they
the
tell
business owners.
Business owners, right? You know, so many of us, and I'm sure you as well, are just so fed up with, you know, business coaches and people coming in and saying we can, you know, grow your business to this, so you can make $6 million in 6 months, or whatever these claims are. So what are some of the false claims that you hear the coaching industry telling these small business owners that, and what is the reality?
Trust me, it'll work. Trust me. You know, I've done it before. Trust me. So it's built on this false sense of, look, I'm not going to be able to show you what your business could look like because I can't do that. But what you can do is just trust me. You can have hope that this time it'll work. I know you've had other people that let you down, but I won't. You know, it's all built on personas and people pumping their chests. And I don't know how they can look at themselves in the mirror because they have nothing to back it up. They don't have systems. They don't have strategies that they can help businesses consistently and predictably implement. Everything is done ad hoc. And the coaching industry has supported that because it's like, get certified in coaching, do it this way. And it's kind of this ethereal ad hoc approach to just ask a bunch of questions. You'll figure it out along the way. Don't let them know you're figuring it out along the way, but you really are. How does that make sense to a small business owner who wants what little they can spend on getting support to be an investment with a real ROI attached to it? And, you know, my advice to businesses, if your advisor, your consultant, your coach cannot demonstrate an ROI attached to working with them before you hire them, do not hire them.
Great advice. And the other thing too is, so we're talking to the small business owner. Let's pivot and talk to that business coach, because, you know, you take someone like you have all these letters behind your name. You have this prestigious background. There's other people who have the skill and they have the passion and the desire to help a small business owner as a coach or consultant or advisor, et cetera. So what would you say to that person that, you know, on what do they need, or what are some key components that maybe they're missing that can take them from, hey, you know, I'm a great person and I have the ability to actually be in a position to deliver true results for that small business owner?
I would say a few things. One, if you don't have the true desire to help small businesses, if that's not your passion, don't do this. It has to be a passion to help the little guy. He needs our help. Number two is, don't get fooled by the idea that just because you're good, that you can be successful. If you don't have the systems, like I said, I keep saying it, Malcolm, an operating system behind you where you can have consistency in all areas, not only of your business, but getting clients results. Like if you don't have step-by-step implementation plans for each of your strategies and you're winging it for every strategy different from one client to another. And again, I'm sure sometimes you're very good. Sure, most of the people we meet with, they're smart people, Malcolm.
Yeah.
But since they're doing everything ad hoc, they don't get the consistency of the results for their clients. And I'm not interested, I know you're not as well, I'm not interested in taking a cent of business owners' hard-earned money unless we're going to get them results. They
Yeah.
can't take that risk. They need the predictability and consistency. And for that matter, I'm not interested in working with a prospective coach or advisor in our business unless I'm going to be sure that we can get them that level of success so that they can have their own definition of time and financial freedom for them and their family.
Don't take a cent of one of your clients' money, hard-earned money from them and their family, if you are not 100% certain that you can deliver an outcome for them. With that, Scott, this has been a tremendous conversation and opportunity. Let me ask you, Scott, where can your listeners find you, and what should they do first after listening to this episode?
Well, I think first they should, they can contact me at Scott at Business Growthology. Again, Business Growthology is the name of our business. You can go to businessgrowthology.com as a website. And again, that name was picked specifically because unless we're going to help businesses grow, it is our, Malcolm, that's our advisor-focused website for business owners. If you're a business owner out there, go to profitgrowthology.com and contact us through that as well.
That is awesome. Business Growthology, Profit Growthology. Yes. I mean, and listen, if you found that this episode had you maybe think or rethink what you're doing because you found value, don't just binge. I encourage you to build. Take massive action now. And again, if you found it valuable, follow the show, send it to someone, a small business owner, someone that you know who may be that CEO or chief operating officer, what we call chief everything officer, that can actually get this type of value, can make some minor adjustments, because we want to see small businesses do nothing but win. With that, Scott, thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.